Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibiers, welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Good to have you here. It's Wednesday, April 8th. We are in day 2 of the penalty phase in the Tanner Horner case. He pleaded guilty to the murder of 7-year-old Athena Strand, but since he's up for death, we essentially have a mini trial so that the jurors can hear the facts of the case so they can weigh all that when they are sent back to decide whether he will get the death penalty or life without parole. The first witness on the stand today, Joshua Espinoza, he is a Texas game warden. They have statewide jurisdiction and they can arrest people just like the police. He was contacted by his brother, who's a Texas Ranger, on December 2nd to help search for Athena. He was told there was a 7-year-old child who was missing, and he reported to Athena's home. When he arrived, there were multiple agencies searching the property. He was then told to find a FedEx truck and was given an address where it would be, and he was told to detain Tanner. He located Tanner at a residence in Paradise, Texas. The witness drew his weapon and cuffed Tanner. He patted him down, got his wallet to get his identification, and called dispatch to let them know that he had been detained. He transferred custody of Tanner to Ranger Espinoza, his brother. He did wear a body cam when Tanner was being detained, and they showed that on screen. He was sent to a bamboo forest with a canine, but nothing was found. They were then sent to Bobo's Crossing on the Trinity River, but they decided not to send the dog out due to the fact it was getting dark as well as the traffic conditions. The next witness is Job Espinoza. He's a Texas Ranger and the previous witness's brother. He goes through which agency was tasked with what, and he was also getting information about who delivered the package to Athena's house. What stuck out to him were the detailed statements Tanner was giving about the green van. They had transitioned to a DPS aircraft to look for a green van, and they were also doing tower dumps to see what cell phones were in the area. The witness was advised about camera footage taken from inside the vehicle, and he thought they could get that video to possibly see if they could find a license plate from this green van. They initially got 2 short clips at the exact same time they were detaining Tanner on December 2nd. From there, he worked on obtaining more video and also getting more information about Tanner's route that day. On the video clip that he saw where Athena was being placed in the truck by Tanner, it gave him a little hope she could possibly still be alive. They secured his FedEx truck and brought that in to be processed. It was being driven by another driver that day. At the same time Tanner was being detained, he sent SWAT to Tanner's home to see if Athena was there. They're able to do this without permission from the courts due to the fact that they are looking to possibly preserve life. Also, nobody in the home is forewarned when this happens. After Tanner was detained, the witness asked, "Where is she at?" And Tanner responded, "I can show you." The next question he asked Tanner, "Is she alive?" Tanner said she wasn't alive when he put her in the truck. But the witness knew that was a lie because obviously he had seen the video of Athena being put in the truck by Tanner alive. He said he backed into her with the FedEx truck and he took her body to a place with a lot of bamboo. They had Tanner direct them to where he said he took Athena's body. From where they detained him to where he said she was, it took about 15 minutes to get there. Tanner was pointing to an area in the bamboo forest. They also brought in a canine to search that whole area. Tanner told the witness that Athena was not far off the road, and he said he placed her there so she could be found, but they found nothing. The witness asked several times, "Is this really where you put her?" And every time Tanner said yes. They stayed out there for about 30 to 45 minutes, but he knew Tanner was lying and he wanted to take him to a controlled environment to do an interview. He said Tanner's demeanor was he was composed and very articulate. After the break, they bring in body cam video showing Tanner taking them to this bamboo forest location. The audio was really hard to hear, so I'm just going to really brush over the interviews that were done at the police station. They do clarify some things with the witness about these interviews before they play it. As far as Athena's clothing, Tanner initially said she was clothed and was wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Tanner was worried about losing his job, not seeing his kid, and what would happen to him. At this point, when they're doing these interviews, they had not found her body. One of the first things Tanner said when asked if Athena was alive, Tanner said she was not because he hit her with the truck. But the witness knew that was a lie because we have the video. When asked if he communicated with Athena, he said yes. Athena told him her name and asked him if he was a kidnapper. Y'all, I'm going to say this. You know I'm a big peace-loving hippie that wish everybody just get along. This guy makes me want to be violent, but only to him. This case disturbs me to my core. And I have a visceral reaction just looking at that guy. Just a trigger warning, we are going to get into some sensitive things here about what he did to her. So if you need to fast forward, it's just very difficult to listen to, and I get that. As far as what he did to kill Athena, he said several times that at first he tried to break her neck, but she was crying and it didn't work. So he turned her away from him and strangled her with both hands. He said after he killed her, he took her to this bamboo forest. Then he said after that, he went to the Love's truck stop to get cleaning supplies to clean up his vomit and where Athena had a bowel movement in the truck. And then he said he went back to the station. And the witness says that Tanner did play the victim during these interviews. He never had any accountability for what transpired. And the witness knew a lot of the facts already. He knew Tanner was continuously lying to him. Tanner would blame long hours at work and things going on in his life. And at one point, he had the audacity to whine that he will not see his kid growing up and he's going to miss so much because he's going away. You know, that totally applies to Athena's whole family and friends and everybody who knew and loved her too. Her life ended by his hands. I swear, y'all. And this is where we get into the ridiculous. And I'm not going to go through these interviews in depth because it really just revolves around the lies of hitting her being in the bamboo forest where he never put her. And also, he implied he was sometimes referred to as Zero, which is an alter ego. He had a tattoo with Zero on his arm. When Tanner turns into Zero in these interviews, it really reminds me of like a really bad acting job on a B movie. And I don't even know if I'd say B movie. I might say like C movie or D movie or even an F because the guy sucks. If this whole situation weren't so horrific, I would literally laugh out loud at Zero's performance. The witness said that he played Tanner's game and would talk to Zero because his focus was finding Athena. And when he did speak to Zero, he started to get answers. The witness said he played this game until after they recovered Athena's body. And another thing he noted about the interview is at times Tanner would make jokes inappropriately. They start one of the interviews at the jail, and he's got his liabetes going about backing over her. He says Athena was a sweet kid, and she was asking him questions. He thought Athena's name was cool because he likes mythology. And another trigger warning, just skip ahead about 20 seconds. As for killing Athena, he said he didn't want her to see it coming. He didn't want her to be sitting there in pain, meaning because he fake ran over her. He said Zero told him they needed to stop her from telling anybody about what happened. Then he talks about having these out-of-body experiences most of his life where he phases out and maybe doesn't know what's going on, or he said it would like be in the back seat almost. Without being asked and without this being any topic, he said, you're going to ask if I assaulted her, and I did not. And by assault, unfortunately, you know what I mean. There is a whiteboard in the interview room. He wrote something on there, and when asked what it was about, Tanner says it wasn't me, it was Zero. He also writes, he's going to hurt me, please help. He's asked if at any point he thought about letting Athena go, and he says he did, but a voice was telling him not to. And at one point, he asked the investigator if they could just use a firearm in the general direction of his head. Tells the story again about hitting Athena, and the investigator asked him to just tell descriptively, what did you do to her? And he said, I killed her. They show some more footage of Tanner in the car going back to the bamboo forest to show them where he did not hide Athena's body. So the investigator plays a little child psychology and talks directly to Zero. And this is genius because it worked. The witness said Tanner's physical demeanor changes. His head goes into a sideways motion. His eyes roll in the back of his head, and he pretends to turn into Zero. At that point, the witness asked him to take him to Athena, and he says he would. The witness said they got into his pickup, and that's when Tanner took him to Bobo's Crossing, which is where they found her body. After finding her, the witness tells Tanner he wants to talk to Zero, and he asks if he assaulted her, and Tanner says no. Did you kill her? He says Tanner wouldn't do that. And the witness, doing a good job, is still playing the game, and he thanks Zero for bringing them to Athena and letting them get her home. Tanner's still babbling like he's Zero and says he took over at the bamboo forest because Tanner couldn't handle the reality of it. The witness asked what Tanner's reality was, and he said he let a child die. No, you killed her and you dumped her body. So that was really the rundown of today. Like I said, I could have summarized these lies that just go in circles for hours and hours and hours, but I'll spare you. Let's just say, number one, he's a bad actor. Number two, Zero might be an appropriate name because that's exactly what this guy is. He is a zero. And number three, this is one of the most horrific cases I've ever covered in nearly 6 years of doing this podcast. It kept me up last night. I really, really think we're probably getting close to hearing that audio of what happened to her in that truck. And I just hope that whoever the pool camera is does not air that audio. I'm not going to air it, as you guys know, but that doesn't need to be on the internet anywhere at all, ever. It doesn't need to leave that courtroom. So I hope whoever the pool camera is has enough respect to just not broadcast the audio. Look, he's in Texas. He's toast. He's going to fry, as he should. But I did a little research. And even though he pleaded guilty and we're going into the penalty phase to decide life or death, if he gets death, it doesn't mean he's going to be fast-tracked to execution, unfortunately. The average time still would be 10 to 11 years. If I'm wrong on that, let me know. But that was pretty much what I found everywhere. Even with the guilty plea, and if he gets death, it's still going to be appealed. And from what we see here, Tanner definitely was setting up a mental health defense, although he did not plead insanity. That's going to be what your defense case is about right there. Is he's going to blame his mom being a stripper and drinking alcohol while she was pregnant. I don't know if he ate every little piece of that lead painting on his crib when he was teething, but he's got 20-something times the amount of lead in his body as the rest of us have. And then they're going to blame him being on the spectrum, which is an absolute insult to the millions and millions of people worldwide who are on the spectrum that do not assault and kill innocent children. I'll just say, Texas, do your thing. We got faith in all y'all sitting in that jury box right now. All right, that's it for today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon.